Hey, it's Tami Jersey Roberts, functional nutrition counselor. And in this presentation, I'm going to talk about thyroid health. The thyroid is a gland, and we're going to talk about where it is and what it does and all that stuff. But just wanted to tell a quick story. Like, I did not know before I went to functional nutrition school. It's sort of obvious now, and you probably know this, but I didn't. I'll just admit it. All of our hormones work together, and we have some hormones that are produced in the thyroid. And I had several doctors tell me that my thyroid wasn't working properly and the hormone production wasn't working properly. And so they kept focusing on the thyroid. But everything works together. And until I addressed the whole picture, nothing really changed with my thyroid. I was given supplements, I was given pharmaceutical medications, and several other things to try to speed up the function of my thyroid. And within a day or so, usually less than 2 days of all these different types of remedies, I would lose my voice. And it would get where I was just a squeaky voice for weeks at a time, even after I stopped taking it. But anyway, I just stopped taking it. And now if anyone tries to give me anything to speed up my thyroid, I just tell them, no, thank you. I can't do that. So I work on the other things. So I'm going to talk about that in this presentation, about how everything is connected. But let's just get right into it. I don't want to jump ahead of myself. Find the right one here. I think this is it. Okay, welcome to the Thyroid Workshop. This is an introduction to thyroid health. And again, I'm Tami Jersey Roberts, functional nutrition counselor through the Functional Nutrition Alliance with Andrea Nakayama. And like I was just telling you the story, I've struggled with a sluggish thyroid for years. So in this workshop, we're going to talk about why women are at an increased risk for thyroid disorders. Second thing is how our reproductive hormones, our gut health, and toxins can also affect our thyroid health. And number 3, I'm going to talk about 6 potential triggers or stressors that affect your thyroid health. So Thyroid 101. First of all, where is your thyroid gland? So the thyroid gland is an endocrine gland that is in your neck just below your Adam's apple. And yes, women do have an Adam's apple, even though it doesn't stick out like on men. It's butterfly shaped, and it's made up of 2 lobes. The right side, okay, see if I can talk. The right lobe and the left lobe. Each lobe lies on one side of your windpipe or your trachea. So you can kind of see that in the picture. So what does a thyroid gland do? Your thyroid gland secretes 2 essential thyroid hormones that help your body's cells to function correctly. The first one is called thyroxine, or T4 for short. T4 is the inactive form that converts to the second hormone called T3 for short. I can't ever pronounce that. Triiodothyronine, or T3 is a lot easier. So the T3 is the form that we use in our cells, but T4 is converted to T3. We'll talk more about that. So thyroid cells are needed by nearly every cell in your whole body. It's not just about this little gland here. It's affecting almost every cell in your whole body. Thyroid hormones affect multiple organs and pathways in the body, which is why the effects of thyroid imbalance are far-reaching. Thyroid problems have a significant impact on your energy levels, your weight, your moods, metabolism, cognitive function, periods, and even pregnancy. So some of the common thyroid disorders are Graves' disease. This is an autoimmune condition that causes hyperthyroidism or overactivity of your thyroid. Hashimoto's thyroiditis. This is another autoimmune condition that causes hypothyroidism or an underactivity of your thyroid. Thyroid eye disease. It affects people with hyperthyroidism as, a result of Graves' disease. Nodules. These are growths on the thyroid that affect how the thyroid gland works. Thyroid cancer, a rare type of cancer that affects the thyroid. And postpartum thyroiditis, a thyroid disorder that occurs in women who have just had a baby. This one is often temporary, but it can return with every subsequent birth. So women and thyroid disease. Women are at an increased risk for thyroid disease. Women are 5 to 10 times more likely to be diagnosed with a thyroid condition than men. It's estimated that millions of women are suffering from symptoms of thyroid disorders and they don't even know it. So what are some signs that you could be having thyroid issues? If you're feeling cold when other people don't, chronic constipation or loose stools, that's going on in our colon. So it's very missed, I guess, is what I should say, that it would have anything to do with your thyroid if you're constipated. Another one is muscle weakness, muscle pain, joint pain, unintended weight loss or weight gain, feeling sad or depressed, exhaustion or nervousness, rapid heartbeat or slow heart rate, dry skin, dry and thinning hair, a hoarse voice, menstrual irregularities, if your neck is swollen or sometimes it's hard to swallow, and sometimes if you're feeling nodules over the thyroid area. So what causes thyroid disorders? Of course, many factors are involved in the development of thyroid disorders, many of which are out of our control. These include genetics. While we can't change our genetics, genetic predisposition alone is not enough. There must be a trigger that turns those genes on. Triggers or stressors vary from person to person, making a universal treatment approach tricky, if not impossible. There isn't one solution that's going to work for everyone. So today I want to talk about 6 of the most common triggers or stressors that affect how your thyroid functions. The first would be reproductive hormones. Estrogen. Now there's many different types of estrogen, but the connection between estrogen and thyroid health is hard to ignore. When you consider that 8 out of 10 women are more likely than men to be diagnosed with a thyroid condition. Women are also have an increased risk of thyroid problems during the transitory times of their life, because women have so many different transitory times in their life that their hormones change. This could be during pregnancy, postpartum, menopause, not to mention the ones when they're younger, perimenopause and puberty. Implements sex hormones in the development of thyroid conditions. So everything is connected. Progesterone deficiency is another common hormone imbalance. If progesterone levels are consistently low, this leads to what's called estrogen dominance. Now, a lot of people get estrogen dominance confused, thinking that it means that they have too much estrogen. But really what it means is that they could have a lot of estrogen, but it also means that their progesterone levels are low. So if you're estrogen dominant, your thyroid hormones get bound up by thyroxine binding globulin, TBG. So this reduces the number of available thyroid hormones, and it results in symptoms of hypothyroidism. Hypo is when your thyroid is sluggish. And I really think this is what was going on with me, but I didn't know that it was progesterone that I needed that kept trying to give me medications for my thyroid. And it was really a different imbalance that was being overlooked. So you really maybe need to take a deep dive in this and really take a look at the whole picture, not just one thing, because the TBG, if your thyroid is being bound by that, it's not converting to the T3, which you need in all your cells. Hopefully didn't sound like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. I think you got what I mean, that if the thyroid hormones get bound up in the TBG, they can't work anywhere else. So hormone balance. We don't have enough time today to go over all the ways to keep your estrogen and progesterone in balance, but I do want to make sure to mention that birth control medication does not balance your hormones. While synthetic hormone medications such as birth control pills and estrogen, they're often prescribed with the promise of balancing your hormones, but they don't balance anything. They suppress hormones, and when they are stopped, hormone chaos can result. Stress is another trigger. Potentially. While stress alone has not been shown to cause thyroid disease, it is a trigger or stressor it can be, and will affect the way your thyroid functions. High stress levels slow down your thyroid function, resulting in a reduction of T3 and T4 production and thyroid hormone imbalance. Causes, I can't talk today. Oh my goodness. Stress slows down your thyroid function, and this results in a reduction of the T3 and the T4 production. And a thyroid hormone imbalance also can cause stress. So it's creating a vicious cycle. So, what can you do? Find ways to de-stress. Finding ways to de-stress, such as exercise, meditation, practicing self-care. You may significantly improve your thyroid health. You will see a dramatic improvement as in your overall well-being. Start prioritizing yourself and treat your downtime with as much importance as your work commitments. You have to take care of yourself. Gut health. There's another trigger. The gut thyroid connection. The gut thyroid relationship is perhaps the most overlooked aspect of thyroid health. Without a healthy gut, you won't get far in balancing your hormones, your thyroid hormones. There is a micropopulation living in your gut that aids in converting your inactive thyroid hormones, your T4, to the active hormones, T3, that your body can use. Symptoms such as belly bloat, weight gain, difficult periods, and skin issues can be signs that your gut is compromised and your hormone conversion isn't what it should be. When you don't have enough active thyroid hormones, this leads to symptoms like weight gain and fatigue. And so that's one reason I wanted to bring this presentation, because a lot of people that I work with are dealing with weight gain. So the gut health has to be addressed in order to address the thyroid function. So simple ways that you can give your gut a boost. Watching what you eat can go a long way in improving your gut health and boosting your thyroid hormone conversion rates. Eating organic and eating a balanced diet it's just the start. Consider adding things like sauerkraut, kimchi, cultured root veggies, traditional pickles, fermented veggies, and unpasteurized miso into your diet. Consume only homemade or real cultured foods from the refrigerator section of your store, or make them at home. I have another presentation on fermented foods that you can take a look at if you want to know more about this and how to make them at home. It comes with a couple of recipes. Most of the products sold on the store shelves are made with a vinegar brine, and they don't have the same health benefits. In fact, most of the health benefits are taken out of those when they're cooked that way. Don't want those kind of fermented foods. Well, they're not actually fermented, they're pasteurized. And that's not what you're looking for. So you go to the refrigerated section and you look for the ones that either say they only have salt in them. If you have any questions about which ones, Bubby's is the brand I really like. They have sauerkraut, pickles, and some other things. And I also have some kimchis that I like. Anyway, you just start adding those to every single meal. So nutrition. How nutrition affects the thyroid. What you eat has a tremendous potential as a trigger or stressor in almost all health conditions, including your thyroid. If you're eating too many calories or not enough calories, foods that mess with your blood sugar, alcohol or fast food or processed food, and even some healthy foods. If we're reactive to them, they can mess with our thyroid function too. Well, it's okay to have an occasional indulgence. Focus on eating real food. Let me show you what that looks like. Eat this. You want to eat healthy fats with every meal. Grass-fed butter or ghee, organic free-range eggs, fats from pasture-raised animals, raw or unrefined coconut oil, avocados, nuts and seeds, ocean vegetables, things like spirulina, chlorella, kelp, nori. There's a whole bunch of them. Organic fruits. Favor the low sugar fruits such as berries and green apples. Organic vegetables. All vegetables, but especially the cruciferous ones. Those are like the broccoli, the cabbage, cauliflower. Organic, grass-fed, and pasture-raised chicken, turkey, beef, pork, lamb, bison, and other wild game. Again, probiotic foods, the cultured vegetables, the beef kvass, the kefir, wild-caught, low mercury seafood, which would be salmon, trout, sardines, clams, shrimp, crab, scallops. And I do want to make just a mention here that the Sugar Mastery program incorporates all of this because we are using foods in that program that balance every system in our body and focus on every system. And that's what I love so much about that program, because no matter what is affecting you, the Sugar Mastery program is going to help bring your whole body into balance, all of your systems up to optimal function. And it just gets better the longer you stay on it. But that was just a little side note. Okay, so you want to avoid caffeinated drinks such as coffee, energy drinks, etc. Caffeine is something that turns on your hunger hormone. It makes you hungry, and it does a lot of other things too, but I'm just going to mention that one right here. Conventional meat. If it's not organic, pasture-raised, clean, a lot of these meats have added hormones and chemicals, so you don't want to eat them. Alcoholic beverages. Even one alcoholic beverage messes with your hormones. So conventional dairy. Dairy is the #1 source of dietary estrogen. And so you do not want to add this to your diet. That's one of the primary reasons. There's a whole myriad of reasons to avoid conventional dairy, but that's the one that affects your hormones the most because you're adding extra estrogen to your bloodstream. Fast food. Oh my goodness, this is usually high in sugar, salt, and chemicals. So it's a no. Gluten and processed grains. These are pro-inflammatory. They cause intestinal permeability or leaky gut. And I've got several other presentations on just this condition. But gluten and processed grains, anything going on in your gut is going to affect your thyroid. So do not eat GMO foods. That's genetically modified organism foods. Industrialized cooking oils. Do not eat these. These are your hydrogenated oils. They're processed and they're poison for not only your thyroid, but your heart, your pancreas, your intestinal, your digestive system. I mean, these are straight poison. Canola oil is a no. I've heard this several times that a lot of people are saying it's okay to have canola oil, but no, it's processed. It's actually made from rapeseed. They didn't want to call it rapeseed oil, so they called it canola. But it's actually been outlawed now to put it in baby formula. So no on the canola. You probably already know the rest of these: corn, soy, and other vegetable oils are a no. They cause huge chronic inflammation inside your body, and they cause a lot of other issues too. You know, if you're having joint pain or, oh, there's just anything that ends in an itis is an inflammatory condition. And one of the things that triggers this are these industrialized cooking oils, especially if the foods are deep fried in them. It's just a big, big no. Processed food, it doesn't have any nutritional value. All the nutrition has just been cooked right out of it, processed out of it. Refined sugars, I think you already know this, it messes with your blood sugar. It depletes your minerals in your small intestine. It's an anti-nutrient. And the best thing to do is just don't eat it. So let's talk about toxins. They're another trigger for your thyroid. Toxins disrupt your thyroid. Without even realizing it, we're exposed to thousands of toxins every single day, and they mess with not only our thyroid hormones, but all of our hormones. They are present in the foods we're eating, the cleaning products that we use in our home, and the beauty care and personal care products that we're using every day. So over time, the damaging effects of toxins add up and can have serious impacts on our health and our thyroid hormones. They actually have a synergistic effect that most of the time these chemicals are looked at one at a time to decide if they're harmful or not. But when we have multiple chemicals that are mixed together, they have an even bigger impact. They synergize and just get bigger. So 1 + 1 does not equal 2. 1 + 1 could equal a 10 times effect or more. It's just incredible. I'm going to be doing a lot of talking about toxins because toxins are also what gets stored in our fat cells. There's a whole classification of toxins called obesogens, and they are what people are saying now. There's a lot of studies coming out that are saying that these are what's behind diabetes, obesity, and other disorders that are going on, because they store in our fat, and our fat is protecting us from these toxins by storing them for us. But once they're stored in our fat, it makes those fat cells want to just stick to us. And we're going to be losing that in Sugar Mastery, but I'm going to be talking about how we release those in a safe way, because we don't want them just coming out of the fat and floating around in our bloodstream just to go back in another way. But anyway, I'll be talking more about that in the Sugar Mastery program. But toxins are a big, big deal in our world, and we do have control over many of the ways that they come in, you know. So start making a switch, you know, try to switch out your household cleaning products. When you run out of something, replace it with something for clean, toxin-free alternatives over time. I made the program Holistic Living that has a lot of different alternative cleaners that are safe for your home, you know, like baking soda, vinegar, a lot of things that are natural and very inexpensive that you can clean with. toxin-free, replace those cleaning products with clean, toxin-free alternatives over time. I mean, you don't have to do it all at once. Just as you run out of stuff, get rid of it. Of course, if you want to get rid of it now, that's fine too. So eat as organic as you can. I know that, some things are more expensive, but in the long run, having bad health is way more expensive than anything you'll ever pay for organic vegetables and fruits. There's other ways that you can wash these to make sure that most of the chemicals are removed. You can soak them in white vinegar or baking soda, or I use high alkaline water to wash my fruits and veggies. And start replacing toxic fragrances around your house. I mean, for a long time, these little air freshener plugs were super popular, and they were just pouring chemicals into the air. And kids and adults and everybody in the house was coming up with all these allergies. And it's from those things. So just replace those with essential oils, lemons, cinnamon, things that are natural and they smell great. Start replacing your cosmetics with natural ones, shampoos, cosmetics, body soaps, everything in your home. Just take a look around and see how many chemicals you're actually bringing in, let alone the ones that we don't have control of that are in the air. I suggest, you can look at the Environmental Working Group's website. They have tons of great info on there about going toxin-free. They have affordable, healthy, organic eating tips and strategies. That website is just loaded. They also have a list every year of the dirty dozen and the clean 15, the fruits and vegetables with the most and the least amount of pesticides sprayed in them according to their tests. So lifestyle. Yes, we're going to talk about lifestyle because that is what functional nutrition is all about, nutrition and lifestyle. So living healthy has become a non-negotiable, especially if you are having trouble with your thyroid or any other organs in your body. A healthy lifestyle and the right mindset is essential for optimum thyroid health. Your hormones are sensitive to shifts in your environment. So make time for self-care. I know people just ignore me when I say this, but you've got to take care of yourself first, because I know that many of you are taking care of families and husbands and everybody else at work and everyone around you. But you've got to take care of yourself first. You've got to take care of the caretaker first. Or if you crash, who's going to take care of the rest of the stuff? So it took me a long time to do this, but it's not selfish. It is loving and caring when you take care of yourself first. And sometimes you're going to have to explain this to the people around you, that mommy has to take care of herself so that she can take better care of you. So running yourself into the ground with work won't do your thyroid any favors. Take walks, go to yoga, get a massage, relax on the patio, hang out with friends, and create a happy life with minimal stress and worry. Your thyroid is counting on it. So I prepared a thyroid health quiz. When you signed up for this presentation, I automatically emailed you a link to download the quiz. There's also, it's going to be talking about questions with your hormone balance, your weight balance, your mood improvement. So I really encourage you to download the thyroid health quiz. I also prepared 2 handouts that can really help you when you're talking to your doctor about this. One of them is a list of the most common supplements that are used to support your thyroid. And another one is a thyroid labs cheat sheet, because most doctors only test the TSH hormone that's triggered from your pituitary gland. And this does not test your T3, T4, reverse T3. It doesn't test all the hormones. And sometimes if that TSH is low, they just automatically want to give you something like Synthroid without doing a thorough test. So I've listed out the thyroid tests that you should have if you come up with a high score on this thyroid quiz, because I always want to say that you should test, not guess, with anything to do with your hormones. And so you can ask your doctor to order these lab tests. There's also some places online that I can refer you to, and maybe even put a couple of them in that handout where you can actually order them and do the tests at home and get them. But you're probably going to need your doctor to interpret those. I might be able to help you interpret them, but again, you already know that I'm not a doctor or any kind of a licensed medical professional, but I do know the lab ranges. And that's another thing I want to mention too. Whenever you get lab tests, of course, lab tests, I'm talking about blood tests, those are a snapshot in time. They're just 1 second in time of when they took that blood from you. So all of the stuff that they're measuring changes every second throughout your body. So they're just going in and taking one stab at it, basically. Oh, I guess that was a pun, but probably not funny. But anyways, the other thing about the lab test, the ranges on the lab test, the numbers that show if you're high, low, normal, those are an average for that test of the people that lab has tested. So it may or may not be a good range. I mean, if everybody in your community has something that is out of range, that's going to be the average. And plus, a lot of times these lab tests are only done on people that are sick or having some kind of trouble. And so that will, again, push those lab ranges out of what really would be considered normal. I'm going to be doing another video on an example of that. But anyway, if you have any questions or you want to know if something looks out of balance on your lab test, just reach out to me and I'll see if I can help you or not. Not sure. But again, I encourage you to check out sugarmastery.com. Everything in that program is revolving around hormone balance, gut balance, mood, just everything. I'm going to be making another video more about that. But if you want to get your whole body and all of your systems into harmony, into balance, then you definitely want to check out sugarmastery.com. Tami Jersey Roberts. Thank you.